Hello, motorsport fans all over the world. Yeah, this is Motorsport Progression, and I just bring you my Bahrain Grand Prix debrief. So basically, the Bahrain Grand Prix last Sunday was very exciting. It was 55 lap race, and it started. It started what's called a little bit in the daytime and blends into the night. So basically, you had Max Verstappen starting on pole position. He took pole position on the Saturday by 3 tenths of a second from Lewis Hamilton, and Valtteri Bottas started in third. So on Sunday, when the race got underway, um, in the first corner, Lewis tried to go on the outside and overtake Max Verstappen, but he couldn't do it. He powered up to turn four. Turn four is a right-hander, isn't it? So turn four, you can either overtake on the outside, but if you get a good sling on the inside, you can kind of overtake. So Lewis was on the outside on turn four, and then behind the two Hazes went off in the first few. One of the Hazes, Nikita Mazepin in the Haz F1, he went off in it. So when Nikita Mazepin went off in the Haz F1, they had to bring out a safety car for a few laps, and the race was after the safety car went in about lap 4 or 5. It was out for a couple of laps. It went in about lap 4 or 5. Then you had Mercedes thinking about strategy now because they're behind Max in it. Remember, Mercedes won the championship for the last 7 years, so they're the team to beat, even though Red Bull has the fastest car at the moment. So starting the season, everyone's excited. They're saying Max is going to challenge Lewis. Red Bull versus Mercedes, there's a lot of hype behind it, and the media's taken to it, and they love it as well. They love a challenge to the Mercedes, which is fair enough. So imagine lap 13 now, you have Lewis Hamilton coming into the pits here to undercut Max Verstappen. So he comes at lap 13, and then Max Verstappen pitted about 4 or 5 laps later on lap 18. So when Max came out, he lost the lead to Lewis Hamilton, and then he had to catch back up. He had to do a second stint, catch back up to Lewis Hamilton. So before he got into this how the strategy played here. Max pitted 4 laps after Lewis Hamilton. They had 4 laps after Lewis Hamilton. So he come out, he had to close the gap back up. But before he closed the gap to the undercut point, yeah, the undercut is basically when you pit first and then you come out in front of you come out in front of the person that was in front of you because you pitted first and you save time on the pit stops. So imagine now Max comes out chasing Lewis, but before he could get to Lewis's undercut in the second stint, they had to what's it called again? They had to pit Lewis again. So they pitted Lewis again, and then Lewis on lap 30. So he pitted on lap 13, lap 14, sorry, and lap 29. And so he had about 25 laps, yeah, or 28 or 20 something laps to do on the hard tire. So Lewis came out driving, and then Max pitted as well. So imagine Max pitted on lap I think lap 40. Yeah, Max pitted on lap 40, 10 laps after Lewis Hamilton. So for the final stint, the third stint, yeah, you had Lewis Hamilton was about 8 seconds ahead. Max Verstappen ended up catching up to him on lap 51. Verstappen was chasing. Hamilton made a mistake on lap 10 on turn 10. Lap 51, he made a mistake, went wide. Verstappen following, and then on lap 53, Verstappen had a chance to overtake Hamilton into the first corner. Coming into the first corner, Lewis just kind of moved his car at the right time, so Max had to go on the outside and try to overtake on the outside. He couldn't do it, so powering up to turn 4. On lap 53, Max Verstappen, he managed to get past Lewis Hamilton, but because of the track limits, he went off the track to complete the overtake in it. So that wasn't a clean overtake. So he had to the race control, they got on the radio and told Max to give the place back to Lewis because he overtook Lewis Hamilton on the outside of the track. But to me personally, it was a brilliant driving skill by Lewis, defensive driving skill by Lewis Hamilton to keep Max behind on older tires. And I believe that it was Lewis Hamilton that forced Max Verstappen into that mistake. It wasn't that Max didn't have enough skill to overtake or anything. It's just one of Lewis's tactics was he kind of slows you down in it before you can get any momentum. So what happened is that mistake that Max made on lap 53 was a mistake, but it was also caused by Lewis Hamilton's impressive driving. Where 2 years ago I was listening to a podcast, the F1 podcast. It was James Allison for Mercedes AMG Petronas, and he was saying that why Hamilton's a great driver is when he's in a wheel-to-wheel battle with you, he places his car in such a perfect position that you either have to hit him or you have to spin like Sebastian Vettel, or you have to yield the position because he places his car in a perfect position. You either have to hit him or you have to yield, in it? It's one of them. So impressive driving skill from Lewis Hamilton. I feel like Max had a great race. Red Bull could have won the race here, but it's just Mercedes' strategy was very superior, and with the slower car that Mercedes had, they managed to use their strategical advantage to overcome Red Bull this time. But moving on to the season, the next race is in Imola in at Italy, which is gonna be an exciting race. Last season was very exciting, and drivers that done well. Valtteri Bottas, he done okay, but he lost 11 seconds during his second pit stop. Yeah, he got a challenge for the win as well. And Lando Norris finished fourth in the early laps here. Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo were having a great on-track battle. Daniel just coming straight at him, trying to overtake him. And his first race in the McLaren, and he's trying to do his teammate like that. So it was okay for the McLarens. And then you had Ferrari. Ferrari done very well. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz finishing fifth and seventh in the points here. One disappointment was for Fernando Alonso. He didn't finish the race, but I'm sure he's getting used to Formula One and getting used to the racing at the moment. And you're gonna see a strong Fernando Alonso towards the middle of the season and the end of the season. And then you had Sebastian Vettel did not have a good race. He just had a few skirmishes and a few skirmishes with people. I think he had a collision with Esteban Ocon in an Alpine. Remember, Vettel was driving at Aston Martin, the new team in Formula One. So yeah, it was an okay race, and the excitement came for the battle for the lead, the lead of the Grand Prix. And yeah, there was a problem with track limits. People were saying that basically when you're on your own, yeah, you're allowed to run wide on turn four, but when you're racing against someone, you are not allowed to run wide at turn four. Well, it's a bit confusing, so I think they got to clarify it to see if just don't let them run wide at all. So it was a great Grand Prix, to be honest. It was one of the best Grand Prix in about 20 or yeah, about 20 or 30 Grand Prix. It was very exciting, and we got the battle we wanted, and we got Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton. So people are looking forward to more. But right now, I say that the experience of Lewis Hamilton is edging it slightly, but the pace of Max Verstappen is very, very, very concerning for Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. So they have to strap up the boots properly and see how it goes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe, take it easy. Love.